It Ain't Heavy, It's My Story is Bobby Elliott of the Hollies' brand new book about his life with the Hollies. This is part 3 of our conversation with Bobby. I'm John Beaudin from Rocky Street Music. What was your initial reaction when you heard the finished product of, for instance, The Air That I Breathe?
Well, me being a drummer, at that time we'd taken on Alan Parsons had become our engineer. Mm-hmm. And Alan Parsons, we'd seen him start there as a kid, a big tall kid, by the way, who'd make the tea, whilst we were recording. And Alan Parsons is now is a big star. Mm-hmm. But then Alan was just a good engineer, and I was impressed with the tom sound. On that track, they sound, my tom-toms, Ludwig Super Classic, sound like timpani. I was impressed with that, but again, intro-wise, we had the song, we had chords at the beginning, but we didn't have any hook there, any long, cool woman guitar at the beginning. So Tony went down into the studio with Alan Parsons, and I know it is a double-track guitar intro, but Alan, I remember at the time, they were messing around with the Leslie speaker for the Hammond organ. I think the guitar went through the Leslie speaker, and it just did it. I mean, it did one run, and then he dubbed on the top thing, and that was literally the icing on the cake. Yeah. The icing on the cake there. What Ron did, and it was a bit naughty, that the track, when it was all finished and ready for pressing, Ron, we played back the master quarter-inch tape, and Ron said, it's too slow, speed it up half a tone. And if you check that against a piano, it's not in tune, it's not concert, it's speeded up, because Ron thought it was too slow.
Really?
So there we go.
Wow. As I listen to you talk, and that's inspiring, I think, for a lot of younger people listening, because music has changed so much, but I'm listening to you and I'm going, my God, you were so hungry in the beginning. You were really hungry.
I had to do it for some reason. It's just that I was totally committed. The passion was there. And in a way, I knew I could do it by when I used to see other guys play. I thought, well, I'm not far off that. When I was young, and so anyway, this I don't know how far you want me to go with this story, but it links into me first meeting Tony Hicks.
Oh, please do, yeah.
Yeah, I met his sister. I met Maureen, his sister, who I eventually married. So I'm Tony Hicks's brother-in-law. Tony Hicks is my colleague in the band. Mm-hmm. Tony is 4 or 5 years younger than me, and I was 18 and he was 14, and I was stood outside the family house, and he walked by, and I'd heard about his playing. He was a whiz kid on guitar, and he had this little band called the Dolphins, and I'm saying goodnight to his sister at the door, and he walks past me and says, "Hi, drummer boy," and that was the first words he'd sort of exchanged. Very prolific player, Tony, when he was very young, and well, still is, of course. But I knew then there was. I was messing around with this other little local rock group, but Tony, something happened, and Tony, it was obvious that I was going to join the Dolphins. This was a Ricky show on the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. And we were influenced by Johnny Kidd and the Pirates and people like that, bands like that. But all this was all before Beatles time, and the British invasion, of course. So we were apprentices. We were kids who got out of school, and we just lived for music. But we had to. In those days, you were told to you got to get a trade in your hands. We are up here. I'm still up here in the industrial north, as was grimy cotton weaving towns, cotton mills, and mining, and all that stuff. And that was a norm. So people used to laugh at me and say, "Well, what are you going to?" Well, I'd like to be, and they'd fall about laughing. In fact, in those days you did an apprenticeship, and I did about 8 to 10 months short of my serving my time, as it was called, because me and Tony were playing with the Dolphins so many times a week that we were in far more than we were in these sort of apprenticeships. I was an apprentice mining engineer. Tony was an apprentice electrician. I think he was doing that so he could mend his guitars and his amplifiers. So anyway. Tony was headhunted by the Hollies. They were going to go down to Abbey Road for an audition, and Tony, he took some persuading, but he eventually joined the Hollies. Now, that left me without a band. A few days later, I was over at his mother's. Remember, I was going out with his sister, so I was over at Peggy Hicks's, his mum, and she said, Tony's phone, there's a job going with Shane Fenton and the Fentons. I said, I'm not too keen on that sort of stuff. Anyway, they were quite a prolific band, a bit like Cliff and the Shadows and that sort of thing. A cut long story short, I ended up down in London. My dad ran me down in his little van. And somewhere at the bottom of Tottenham Court Road, that's in London, West 1, this is where the audition was supposed to be. So I'm looking left, right, it's raining, it's miserable. Up this alleyway, up this little street, I can see some guys stood, huddled, and they were drummers. One or two had sticks sticking out of their pockets. And I walked up there. What is it? Yeah, get to the back, get the back of the queue, man, sort of thing. Anyway, I got the gig with this Shane Fenton. So there were about 8 guys there. I later found out that Keith Moon was number 3 in the queue, and a guy called Mick Fleet, who later became Mick Fleetwood. But I got the gig, and I was with Shane and the Fentons for about 4 or 6 months, and then I joined the Hollies. This is all in 1963. So that was early 1963, and by the end of the summer '63, I was in the Hollies and I was in Abbey Road Studios, and we were making records, and that was, me, Alan Clark, Graham Nash, Tony Hicks, and the original bass player Eric Haydock, and that's me basically getting into the famous Abbey Road Studios, and there we were, shoulder to shoulder with the Beatles, drinking tea in the canteen or going down clubs afterwards with John and his wife Cynthia, and in those days McCartney was with Peter Asher's sister. It was amazing.
It Ain't Heavy, It's My Story is Bobby Elliott's brand new book on his life as the drummer of the Hollies. Links in the description of this video where you can pick it up. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. More from Bobby coming up next week. I'm John Beaudin from Rocky Stream Music.